The media. And does it have an agenda? There is nothing on television programming that has not been bought and paid for. Of course there's an agenda. Every time you see a Tide commercial, the agenda is to get you to support yet another product of Procter & Gamble, so on and so forth. If you see nothing but Caucasians in commercials versus African Americans, that is an agenda that is designed to pander to so-called white Americans. Just like if you see a commercial with an African American in it, that's also an agenda to push products to African Americans. The same thing with an HIV commercial. You will find that in most HIV commercials that you will see an African American who happens to be homosexual. That shows an agenda to appeal to African American homosexuals. And it also asserts that African American homosexuals are most likely to have HIV, which is in poor taste in my opinion. Sickle cell anemia is one thing, but you definitely should not put an African American face on HIV because it affects any ethnicity and many American families as a whole. But again, anything you see on TV is bought and paid for. There is an agenda as long as this is a capitalistic government, as long as everything is designed to get you to spend money. You know what? When I think about it, it doesn't even have to be capitalism. This could be a government that is completely peaceful and altruistic. And if there were any commercials on TV, the agenda would be promoting peace and tranquility. So really, there's always an agenda. It's more so like agenda is becoming a bad word when really it's not really about good and bad. It's just a word. There can be good agendas. So at the end of the day, there's no main agenda. When it comes to broadcast programming, it's about getting to the minds of the American people to focus on what is on TV at the time. It's just that simple. One of the biggest agendas that people speak on is an agenda with the LGBTQ community. Many people feel that there is a push to make everyone either gay or to make our children gay, or at the very least to make children question their sexuality. You have to ask yourself, how did this get on TV if everything on TV is bought and paid for? So, as I explained, the media moguls are in full control. These things are directly from the top. It does not come out of thin air. It's not the LGBT community that you really need to be concerned about. Homosexuality has been going on for centuries. That's not my main focus when we talk about the agenda of the media moguls. My concern is the content of character of these people who own the media, the content of their character. What the LGBT community needs to understand is that they are indeed a culture, and a culture is made up of human beings, and by extension, some of these human beings are going to be bad people. Your sexual preference has very little to do when it comes to the content of your character. For instance, there were prominent members of the civil rights movement who were in fact homosexuals. These were people who were willing to die for the advancement of civil rights for everyone. They didn't just look out for gay people. That's not equality, and that's not civil. What the LGBTQ culture needs to seriously look for are people who are predators in their very culture. Just because you're gay doesn't mean that you're a great human being. The media moguls that are in charge of the LGBTQ programming that we see on TV, what is the content of their character? Do we know if these people are actually good people? Are they good human beings? Or are they setting up the entire gay community to look like nothing more than a hedonistic lifestyle that has no bounds when it comes to sexual behavior? Here's an example right here. Sumner Redstone. Now, he's passed away, but he was the owner of Viacom. Viacom owns BET and God knows how many other things. Point here is, he was caught on tape trying to set up sexual orgies and numerous threesomes. What is the content of their character? Here is an older article about how he's upset that he did not create a gay channel years ago. Not because he cares about the LGBTQ community. It's because he knows that it would have been worth $1 billion or more today if he had done it. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The culture is being sold out, and it's being sold out by the richest people. I saw the same thing happen in hip hop. Even though Sumner Redstone has passed away, his daughter does run the company. Who is to say that she doesn't share her father's view when it comes to turning a quick buck, regardless of the culture that money will help destroy? These are the people in charge. What is the content of their character? There are people out here in the community that are being used, and those people are going to reflect the entire culture. Where are these media moguls taking the LGBTQ community? Plenty of people in the LGBTQ community have been, in fact, molested as children. When the terrible things happened to you as a child, was your young mind ready for it? And how did that shape you as a human being? Should children be asked such heavy questions about sexuality, gender? Should they be asked these questions at so tender an age? And since these particular questions are being pushed via the media, we now have to face some very heavy decisions as parents. And there are maybe, just maybe, a lot of people in the LGBTQ community that don't agree that children should be faced with such heavy decisions when their minds are not anywhere near developed enough to make a clear decision. How can a 6-year-old possibly fathom the ramifications of their decision that will affect the rest of their lives that they have not even lived yet? Meanwhile, an adult of 25 to 30 years can totally make an informed decision, don't you think? Let's talk about love. There's no doubt that children can know love. They can know the love of their parents. But it's safe to say that their young minds cannot possibly grasp the depths of the word love. As a matter of fact, many adults are still trying to understand the concept of what it means to be in love or to love somebody. So with that being said, how can a child understand that love is love? I think we can all agree that there are such things as adult situations. A child should not see his mother and his father tongue kiss each other. That's how we have things called parental advisory. We are protecting young minds from being exposed to things that they have no concept of. And even if they did, their young, developing minds would not be ready for the experience. A heterosexual tongue kiss is an adult situation. A lesbian tongue kiss is an adult situation. A homosexual tongue kiss is an adult situation. As adults, we must be honest with ourselves. We know that a tongue kiss is quite different from the classical peck or the classical lips touching. A tongue kiss is designed to arouse the sex organs. It is foreplay, which means that it comes before sexual intercourse. It is meant to turn the other partner on sexually. Is this what we want our children to think is the normal way to kiss someone else of their age? Think about it. Can you imagine if a young man sees his parents tongue kissing and then he says to himself, you know what? That's how it's done. That's what a kiss is. Okay, and what happens when he has his first kiss? That person that he kisses, I would imagine, is going to feel very, very wrong about what just happened. Adult situations are not for children. Something that is on TV, something that has been bought and paid for and placed all over TV screens, has the potential to be seen by young minds who should not be seeing it. Adult situations. There's a reason that rated R movies exist. Again, gay culture. This is on you. This is directly on you. And you have to begin to look at what is going on in your culture. You have to begin to examine the message that you really want to put out there to people. And there are media moguls who do not look like they have the best interests of gay culture at heart. If we were to truly show that love is love, and we all know that love should be universal, then I can't think of a better way to show love than with a hug. A hug has always been love. An embrace means that I will allow you to come close to me, and I trust you in this moment with who I am. That's what a hug is, and that's why people could feel the love in hugs. After all, shouldn't we be teaching our children to embrace one another, to hug each other? Of course, as long as the other person would like to be hugged, that is. We all should be respectful, no matter what age, when it comes to our personal space. You see, the LGBT community, in my opinion, your message is being turned into something perverse, and it is coming directly from the top. And as we have plainly seen, when it comes to certain media moguls like Harvey Weinstein, and even some very, very powerful rich people who had their own island, allegedly doing some very perverse things. These people are well connected. These people are at the top, and these people are involved with media in some way, some shape, some form. So again, if I haven't made it clear, whatever community you want to be in, whatever culture you want to be in. Children are children, and we should have serious questions as adults when we see certain things on TV. Acceptance, believe it or not, has a cutoff